Welcome to Still Stella, living life sarcastically. Hi, y'all. Welcome to Still Stella, living life sarcastically. This podcast comes with a trigger warning, extreme sarcasm, and mild emotional violence. Today we're talking about worry, insomnia, and perfection. My anxiety has its own calendar. It's color-coded. It has reminders. It has backup reminders for the reminders. And if anxiety earned airline miles, mine would probably have platinum status and a complimentary upgrade to first class. It is full of things to be worried about, whether they are necessary or not. It's a constant cycle of anxiety and worry. We worry if everyone is okay. We worry if anyone needs anything. We worry about our spouse, our kids, our pets. And if you're an empath like me, you worry about the random lady you saw crying earlier. You don't know her. You don't know why she's upset, but now your brain has decided you crossed her path for a reason, and you are emotionally responsible for her well-being. 5 minutes later, I've created her entire backstory. Her husband left her. Her dog has diabetes. Her HOA denied her mailbox color. Meanwhile, she probably just dropped her iced coffee. Or maybe she left the house without makeup and still in her pajamas because menopause has made sleep a distant memory. Instead, I'm over here mentally organizing an intervention and grief counseling. This empath thing is exhausting. You absorb emotions from people you don't even know. I can walk into a room and immediately know if someone is upset, irritated, or hiding from their responsibilities. Honestly, I should charge a consultant fee. Ma'am, I can sense unresolved tension and someone forgot to pay a bill. Overthinking is a full-time job where you try to solve problems that don't even exist because your brain made them up for you. I swear this dwelling leads to analysis paralysis, where you struggle to make a final decision. It's so hard to quiet the nonstop loop of thoughts. I don't just overthink conversations. I overthink texts. I'll type 3 words, delete them, add an emoji, remove the emoji because maybe that looks passive-aggressive, and a period. Remove the period then, because apparently punctuation is threatening now. By the time I send the message, I've aged 3 years. I rehearse every important conversation in the shower. Every single one. I'll stand there, shampooing my hair, while giving an award-winning speech that nobody asked for. Then I have the replay loop of conversations I've already had. Did they understand the sarcasm? Did I hurt their feelings? Did I accidentally sound mean? Bless their heart. Am I the only one who does this? I feel like I go over major conversations 1,000 times before they happen. Then I replay, conversations from childhood to determine if I said something wrong. This overthinking is a marathon of an emotional instant replay. And somewhere along the way, I discovered something called imposter syndrome. That lovely condition where no matter how good you are, your brain whispers, "But what if you're secretly terrible?" The irony is that professionals, Executives, interns, and probably astronauts all experience it. We all secretly feel like a raccoon in a trench coat pretending to be an adult. Somebody says to you, "Great job." And inside your head, you're thinking, "Please don't look too closely. I'm literally 3 raccoons operating inside this human." Now I know I said the issue was imposter syndrome, not an actual raccoon in a trench coat. But be honest, now you're imagining a raccoon in a tiny trench coat carrying a briefcase. Don't judge me. You know you're considering the possibilities. I just wish I'd realized this sooner so I could have harnessed this craziness and used it to my advantage. Do you think hubby would object to a raccoon? Probably. He already adamantly refused the baby goat, which I still don't understand because we all know he wouldn't be the one taking care of it. Honestly, goats are less stubborn than husbands. I know. Maybe he's afraid the goat would take his spot on the bed. It could happen. Girlie is already actively campaigning for that position. She thinks she's a lapdog and somehow manages to occupy half the bed while weighing approximately the same as a small refrigerator. Preparing for disasters that never happen. My brain is constantly preparing for disasters that never happen. You know, mentally organizing an orderly evacuation only to find yourself stuck behind a guy on a bicycle carrying a mattress. That's basically how useful most of my worrying is. We plan for every possible thing that could go wrong. Why aren't we planning for things that could go right? I think it's our Gen X upbringing. We were raised to figure it out ourselves. We've been planning worst-case scenarios since childhood. Some of us, stubborn ones, have been refusing help for so long that we've collected injuries like souvenirs. Face full of glass? Check. Leg full of burns? Check. Questionable decisions? Absolutely. In a real emergency, I'm going to be the one with a dead phone I forgot to charge, eating beans out of a can like a starving raccoon, while desperately hoping I packed wine and chocolate. And then realizing I packed 14 phone chargers that don't fit anything I own anymore. Now we have a real emergency. The shower epiphany. The only good thing about rehearsing and reviewing everything is that sometimes it leads to an epiphany. The shower is where clarity arrives. Problems get solved. Ideas appear. Like suddenly makes sense. For about 30 seconds, then I forget it. I need a voice recorder in the shower. That has to be a thing, right? I've tried yelling for Alexa or Siri to write things down for me. That never goes as expected, though. Siri probably hears me yelling through running water and thinks, "Ma'am, I'm gonna need subtitles." Alexa is probably debating whether to call emergency services. She sounds distressed and probably underwater. No, thank you. I'm just trying not to forget my brilliant idea before I turn the water off. Maybe menopause needs waterproof AI. Hi, Stella. That's actually a good idea. Please write it down before shampoo number 2 erases it forever. Honestly, that might be an untapped market. Menopausal voice recorders. It could also include AI reassurance. You are not crazy. You are simply operating and fluctuating with fluctuating hormones and limited sleep. Of course, the recordings would probably just contain me rambling about raccoons, grocery lists, and whether I remembered to switch the laundry. And if I'm being honest, I'd probably forget to use the recorder in the first place. So the technology would be revolutionary and completely wasted on me. We're back to Hubby Watch 2026. Well, it's time once again for everyone's favorite recurring segment, Hubby Watch 2026. Cue the imaginary, dramatic news music. Live from our house where cabinet doors are still being left open and one man is testing the limits of his wife's patience. The watch continues. We are now 2 weeks past surgery, and thankfully everything's going really well. The incisions have healed beautifully. He has officially started physical therapy. The doctor reminded us recovery is going to take 8 or 9 months. 8 or 9 months. Whoever invented shoulders clearly didn't have to rehab one. So let the countdown begin. Thankfully, hubby has been following the doctor's orders, for the most part. And by for the most part, I mean with the assistance of my full-time supervisory position. Apparently, after these years together, I've been promoted to recovery coordinator, medication reminder, ice pack manager, physical therapy cheerleader, and professional nag. Honestly, I prefer the title of common sense. I know he doesn't appreciate my constant reminders right now, but maybe 6 months from now he'll say, "You know, honey, you were right." Who am I kidding? That has never happened. More likely, he'll tell everyone he healed himself while I stand in the background looking like unpaid hospital staff. Some days I wonder if my nagging is actually keeping him alive. Other days I wonder if it's going to be the exact thing that sends me overboard. Picture it. He's standing there smiling, gently nudging me toward the edge of a pirate ship plank. There you go, sweetheart. One little push. Sweet freedom. Then about 24 hours later, he realizes nobody closed the cabinet doors. Nobody reminded him where he left his keys. Nobody fed the pets. Nobody planned dinner. Nobody reminded him he already told me that story 3 times. He'd be calling me before I hit shore. So what has hubby done this week? Now it's time for another fan favorite. What has hubby done this week? Besides opening every cabinet in the kitchen? Seriously? Why? Does he think they're self-closing? Do cabinet doors offend him somehow? At this point, I feel like I'm following breadcrumbs through the house. Except instead of breadcrumbs, it's open cabinet doors. One day, I'm going to walk straight into one. Then he'll say, "I didn't even see that one." Exactly. Neither did I. The thing that really drives me crazy this week is watching him do absolutely nothing while I'm working. Now, before anybody comes after me, I understand he's healing, he had surgery, and he needs to recover. I know. But from my perspective, it looks suspiciously relaxing. I'm over here answering emails, vacuuming, doing laundry, feeding pets, making dinner, trying to remember if I already took my vitamins, while he's watching another episode of something. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, "Sir, you're only down by one arm. You can absolutely supervise the vacuum. Heck, you only need one arm to push it. Unless our vacuum secretly weighs 700 pounds, which, judging by the way he avoids it, apparently it does. Am I better? No. Jealous? Maybe just a little. Like tiny fire-breathing dragon little. Not enough to become dangerous, just enough to sit quietly, plotting a future pillow fight. Now, before anyone gets concerned, I'm talking decorative throw pillows. Those things are suspiciously heavy. I'm not trying to catch a felony over home goods decor. Sleep, or whatever this is. Now let's talk about sleep. Or, as it's currently known in our house as, the thing neither of us gets. Hubby's still wearing that gigantic shoulder sling. You know the one. It looks less like medical equipment and more like someone gift-wrapped his arm. He's stuck sleeping sitting upright, which means every morning I get a complete report. I only slept 4 hours. Honey, congratulations. I slept 3.5. Because I spent the whole night making sure I didn't accidentally roll over onto your shoulder. It's amazing how someone else's injury somehow affects both people sleeping in the bed. Marriage is weird. Then there's the snoring. The man finally falls asleep. He's snoring peacefully, and I still can't sleep because now I'm worried that if I move 6 inches, I'll ruin months of recovery. So I lie there, perfectly still, like a museum exhibit. Somebody could rob the house. I'd just whisper, "Please don't make me move." Meanwhile, my body's declared war. As if menopause wasn't enough, now I have restless legs, nerve pain in my feet, insomnia, brain fog, hot flashes. Honestly, my body has started introducing new symptoms without even consulting me. Could we maybe finish one problem before adding another? My brain races 90 miles an hour at bedtime. During the day, brain fog. Can't remember why I walked into the kitchen. Can't remember someone's name. Can't remember where I set my glasses. Then bedtime arrives. Suddenly, my brain becomes a Fortune 500 CEO holding emergency meetings. Okay, everyone, let's discuss every embarrassing thing Stella has ever done since 1984. Really? Now? Insomnia is rude. It waits until your head hits the pillow. Then your brain says, "Hey, remember that weird thing you said in 7th grade? Why? Why are we discussing middle school at 2:17 in the morning? That girl probably doesn't even remember me." Meanwhile, I'm over here apologizing to imaginary people from 35 years ago. Dreams that deserve their own TV series. Now, if I actually manage to fall asleep, my dreams make absolutely no sense. They are unbelievably detailed. I know exactly where I am, who's there, what I'm wearing, what the weather is doing, the floor plan of the building, yet somehow I'm grocery shopping with Dolly Parton inside NASA, while my 3rd grade math teacher is driving the shopping cart. Explain that. My dreams have full Hollywood budgets, special effects, wardrobe changes, celebrity cameos, plot twists. They deserve their own streaming service. Then I wake up thinking, what in the world was that? When I tell hubby about him, he just laughs. Sometimes he doesn't even respond. He just slowly shakes his head like, there she goes again. Honestly, sir, I wonder what's wrong with my brain too. Remember sleeping like a kid? Do y'all remember how kids could go 90 miles an hour all day, running, jumping, yelling, climbing furniture? Basically, tiny caffeinated squirrels. Then suddenly, they crashed. You could carry them upside down through the house, and they never woke up. I miss that kind of sleep. Now, if the dog sighs too loudly, I'm awake. If somebody sneezes 3 houses away, I'm awake until Tuesday. My daughter could fall asleep anywhere. One night, she actually fell asleep at a hockey game. People were screaming, cheering, air horns, music, lights flashing. She never moved. I used to think, how is that possible? Now, I'm jealous. I'd pay money for that kind of sleep. Teenagers can sleep through anything. Remember when our kids became teenagers? Suddenly, the same child who used to wake up because their sock felt funny could sleep until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My son had a special talent. The minute he got in a car, he was asleep. Didn't matter if we were driving 5 minutes or 5 hours. Seatbelt clicked, eyes closed, gone. I probably have an entire photo album of him sleeping in the passenger seat. Of course I took pictures. That's what parents do. It's practically in the parenting handbook. Embarrass your children whenever possible. One day they'll have kids, and the cycle continues. That's called generational healing and a little harmless blackmail. Speaking of sleep, I remember being a teenager and refusing to get out of bed one morning. My parents had enough. Next thing I knew, I was wrapped up in my blanket and deposited into a cold shower, blanket and all. I was not amused. Was it effective? Absolutely. Would today's teenagers survive that? Probably not. There'd be 3 documentaries, a podcast, and a congressional hearing. Night owl problems. I've always wondered if some of us are simply wired differently. Some people jump out of bed at 5 a.m. They're smiling, drinking green smoothies, doing yoga, talking about how beautiful the sunrise is. Bless their hearts. At 5 a.m., I look like a hostage negotiating my release. I don't want a smoothie. I want coffee. Silence, and for nobody to ask me complicated questions before 9 a.m. I've often thought I was built for the night shift. My brain seems to wake up around the same time respectable people are heading to bed. Unfortunately, my bladder apparently works the first shift. So every weekend, it wakes me up early. Then my anxiety clocks in. Then my brain starts another staff meeting. There goes sleeping in. Experts have clearly never had menopause. You know how the experts say, stay off your phone before bed? Okay. What exactly am I supposed to do instead? Lay there in complete darkness, alone with my thoughts? Have you met my thoughts? That's like locking yourself in a room with 37 squirrels and a leaf blower. At least when I'm playing solitaire, my brain has something to do. Unfortunately, my competitive streak takes over, then suddenly it's midnight. I can win one more game. Then another, then another. Congratulations, I've successfully stayed awake trying to relax. Mission accomplished. The myth of perfection. Social media is fascinating. Everybody seems to have the perfect family, the perfect house, the perfect vacation, the perfect marriage, the perfect kitchen, the perfect body, and the perfect dog. Meanwhile, nobody posts, here's our family arguing about where to eat for 45 minutes before settling on tacos because nobody could agree. Nobody posts, family photo attempt number 37. You know the one. Dad's blinking. Mom's threatening everyone. One kid is crying. The toddler is trying to lick the dog. The dog has stolen somebody's shoe. Grandma's asking if we're done yet. And somebody, usually Dad, is standing there asking, "Can we just use the first one?" No, we cannot, because somebody looked possessed. Then finally, one picture turns out perfect. That's the one everyone posts. People see it online and think they have it all together. No, they have one good picture. There's a big difference. Filters are getting out of hand. Let's be honest. Filters have gotten ridiculous. My passport photo looks like a threat to national security. Meanwhile, Instagram thinks I'm 28 with flawless skin and enough energy to run a marathon. Those are not the same woman. Sometimes I run into people who have only seen my filtered photos. They're looking at me like, "Wow, life has really happened to you." Yes, it has. Life, menopause, stress, hubby watch, open cabinet doors. Those things age a person. Remember when I talked before about inventing a makeup mask? I still want one. 5 seconds, pull it over your face, count to 10, take it off, boom. You suddenly look hydrated, emotionally stable, well rested, like you've had 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep. It'd probably sell out in 5 minutes, especially to Gen X women. Maybe perfection isn't the goal. You know, the older I get, the less interested I am in being perfect. Perfect is exhausting. Perfect isn't real. Perfect is usually filtered, cropped, edited, and posted after 47 attempts. Real life is messy. Real life leaves cabinet doors open. Real life forgets why it walked into the kitchen. Real life wakes up at 3 in the morning, wondering if you offended someone in 1996. Real life buys wine before batteries. Real life considers adopting a baby goat or a raccoon in a trench coat just because it would make life more interesting. And honestly, that's okay. Because those messy moments, those imperfect moments, those are usually the stories we're laughing about years later. One last thought. So tonight, if you're lying awake, replaying every awkward conversation you've ever had, wondering if you're good enough, or worrying about people you haven't even met yet, just remember, somewhere out there, another Gen X woman is doing exactly the same thing. She's probably wondering if she should apologize for something she said in middle school. She's probably trying to remember why she walked into the laundry room. She's definitely wondering who left the cabinet open. And she may or may not be shopping online for a tiny trench coat for a raccoon. If that's you, welcome. You're among friends. We're all just doing the best we can. None of us have this figured out. Some of us just laugh louder while we're figuring it out. And maybe that's enough. Thank y'all so much for listening. Remember to tell your people you love them. Life is short. Laugh while you can. Love your people fiercely. Give yourself a little grace. And don't waste too much time chasing perfection, because perfection isn't nearly as memorable as authenticity. And authenticity comes with wrinkles, gray hair, laugh lines, a little sarcasm, and a whole lot of stories. So, marry your lobster, drink the rum, get the deal if it's really a deal, hug the friends who don't secretly root against you, and if you happen to find a raccoon in a tiny trench coat, tell 'em I'm hiring. Thank y'all so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's podcast, be sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. Leave a review if you're feeling generous, and share this episode with your real ones. especially the ones who overthink text messages, can't sleep, and have ever argued with themselves in the shower. Until next time, keep laughing through the chaos, keep giving yourself grace, and as always, keep living life sarcastically. Thank you for listening to Still Stella, Living Life Sarcastically.